So-called legal highs have been hitting the headlines recently over concerns about their safety. Our reporter Conrad has more.
Whether it's stimulation or hallucination, euphoria and distortion can be bought over the counter in the UK. Available in head shops or increasingly over the internet, these drugs contain blends of herbs and synthetic stimulants to mimic the effects of illegal drugs. So what are some of these drugs? One of the most notorious is salvia divinorum. Usually known as salvia, it is a dissociative psychoactive, which means it blocks signals from the conscious mind to other parts of the brain. Peter Prudence, who runs a shop in Brighton selling the drugs, tells the BBC more about it.
Salvia is a very subjective experience. This can cause quite profound changes in our vision of reality. People can sort of imagine they're a drop of paint on the wall. They can imagine they're dropping through the floor. Or they can just think that something's a bit different. They're not quite sure what it is. They can't put it on it.
Frank, the UK's national anti-drugs campaign, says that the drug is not illegal, but says that sellers can be prosecuted for not stating on packaging that it is not for human consumption. Some say that this is just one of many loopholes being exploited at the moment. Crystal Cole of Neurosoup.com, an online resource for drug information, tells us about salvia on her website.
The primary active constituent in salvia divinorum is salvinorin A, and it is the strongest psychoactive psychedelic compound known to man currently. It's even stronger and more potent than LSD. So I think that you shouldn't let it deter you from trying salvia.
We spoke to a user about his experience of legal highs. He wishes to remain anonymous.
It was like being in a dream. It was like falling out of your own body and into a whole different world. But I started to enjoy it more than real life. So I started to take it more and more and not enjoy living as much as I did.
Another user told us about his experience of legal highs.
The legal high that I tried was salvia, but I also saw people that I knew doing two kinds of seed, LSA and HBO, which have effects similar to LSD. And those were possibly more unpleasant. Those were, you would spend 20 minutes vomiting for 3 hours of tripping, which, to be honest, I wouldn't recommend anyone to do. It looked incredibly unpleasant, and it was no fun to look after them either. But the thing with salvia, I would say, is that yeah, it's a nice high, and you feel giggly, and everything's quite fun, and you do get little kind of visual trips. But ultimately, the feeling of it, taking it, is worse than tobacco. It's worse than weed. It really makes you feel. I felt like I couldn't really breathe that well. Even, several hours afterwards, it really felt heavy in my lungs. And if that's the kind of thing, that's just the way my lungs felt. If you imagine the actual damage that's doing, it probably isn't something that you'd want people to be doing regularly or to be available legally on places like eBay.
We asked him whether legal highs should be banned.
Yeah, I think they should ban legal highs. I think they just need to basically just shape up the Misuse of Drugs Act so that it just covers anything that has certain psychoactive effects. Because a lot of the drugs, particularly methadone, that's now popular, at least with cocaine, for example, people know what the long-term effects of it are and they're not good. But with methadone, it's a new drug. People have no idea. People could be doing incredible damage to themselves. I have a friend who does loads of the stuff, and he says that it's legal to him means safe. Well, that's clearly not true, and no drug is safe. Even prescription drugs, when abused, are bad for you.
The amount of different legal highs is enormous. From mushrooms that mimic the effects of psilocybin to capsules that boost energy levels, the strength and safety of these as a group is quite hard to equate. The death of Sussex University student Hester Stewart in July 2009 saw the reclassification of GBL as a Class C. A close relative of GHB, known for its euphoric effects and also commonly associated with date rape, GBL was legal up until this point. This brought into question the testing and research that goes into the trade and consumption of legal highs. John Henry, a clinical toxicologist at St Mary's Hospital, told the BBC about his concerns.
The more these things are promoted, the more risk there is going to be to people in general. You could have people ending up with road accidents, committing suicide, developing mental illness, or having serious medical complications.
Some think of them as safe alternatives to damaging illegal drugs, and others are scared of their long-term effects. But the future and safety of legal highs still remains unknown.